America, apple pie, baseball, and Mormonism? Now, I had this whole cold open planned out where I would dress up as a redcoat and run around in these woods and, you know, just generally do the British thing for the 4th of July. But I thought I still want to be welcome in the United States of America, so I'm going to cool it. And it's okay. We know it was really the French, and we've had beef with them for like 1,000 years. So America, we're cool. It's all good. Hey, stop. Nope. In case it wasn't obvious, and for my non-American audience, America as a country, the United States of America, celebrated its 250th birthday just a week or so ago. And funnily enough, my father celebrated his 70th birthday at around the same time. And that makes him a quarter of the age of the United States. But anyway, I digress. It was a time to celebrate all that is good about America. And for Mormons in particular, the United States of America is special. Because despite what apologists might try and tell you, the United States of America is part of the setting of the Book of Mormon. It is part of the location in which the events of the Book of Mormon are believed to have happened according to the book itself. And that remains the case to this day, unless you believe someone like Jasmin over a current apostle of the church. Let's take a look.
Jesus Christ is our captain. We revere, love, and trust him to champion the Father's plan. That includes preserving this, the promised land, choice above all other lands, for the great unfolding of the gospel in the last days.
And it's not just that America was the land set apart for the unfolding of the gospel in Joseph Smith's time.
Our Father in heaven created our first parents, Adam and Eve, and placed them in a garden eastward in Eden, in what today we consider the heartland of America.
If any apologist tries to tell you that the Garden of Eden wasn't in Jackson County, Missouri, I'd point them to this video and tell them that in 2026, that is still being taught by an apostle of the Lord. And Rasband also believes that the flood, which the church dates to 4000 BC, is the time at which the continent split. And at the time of that split, the continent was then preserved for the unfolding of the events of the Book of Mormon.
Let the Lord cleanse the earth with water. The surface of the continent fractured into great continents separated by oceans, all to protect what was destined to be the promised land, which the Lord God had preserved for a righteous people.
And finally, he tells us who exactly it is that God placed in the promised land that is the United States.
The family of Adam and Eve, the Jaredites and the Nephites, could not sustain willing the good of the other. God did place them in the promised land, the perfect setting, but the evil one crept in and took over.
The rest of his address is primarily talking about the religious nature of America as a nation and tales from the Revolutionary War, things like starting Congress with a prayer. But what we're interested in here is the fact that, at minimum, according to what Rasband is saying, the United States of America is the place of the Garden of Eden. It is the landing place of the Jaredites, it is the home of Lehi and his family, and the subsequent nations that developed from that, and it is therefore the setting for events from the Book of Mormon. The hemispheric view of Book of Mormon geography, that being that the events of the Book of Mormon took place in North and South America, is alive and well from the mouth of one of God's apostles in 2026. And, as is becoming quite a theme at the moment, his words aren't novel. His remarks are very similar to a talk given in 1976 by Jeffrey R. Holland. Holland also teaches about the separation of the continents, about the role of Christopher Columbus and the fact that he was divinely inspired. He teaches that it was the Jaredites who came to the United States of America, then Lehi and his family came to the United States of America. The Promised Land theme is so strong that I wouldn't be surprised if Rasband consulted Holland's talk in preparation for his own. And that talk that Holland gave was given in 1976, which was the 200th birthday of the United States. Which means that it would seem that every 50 years, whenever America has a large significant birthday, this talk, or a variant thereof with its themes, is cracked out to celebrate the unique ways in which Mormon doctrine is tied to the United States. Because let's not forget, this is where Joseph Smith found the gold plates, which means that this is where the gold plates were buried, which means that this is the place where the last stand of the Nephites took place, all according to Mormon doctrine. Over the past few decades, many church apologists have moved away from the hemispheric model that we've just been talking about to what's called a limited geography model.
So I think the Book of Mormon most likely took place in Mesoamerica. And yet some people think that even having that opinion is a spiritual problem. And I disagree.
Predominantly they focus on Mesoamerica as the location of the Book of Mormon, and they have to do so because of things like this. John Clark discovering on an archaeological dig sponsored by BYU that the hill Cumorah is archaeologically clean. This sort of thing necessitates a move away from the narrative that the hill Cumorah where Joseph found the gold plates is the hill where a battle featuring 2 million people took place. If it's archaeologically clean, it couldn't have happened there. And in the words of John Clark, it means that we must look elsewhere for that hill. In other words, we have to shift the goalposts. But in the words of Alex O'Connor, you can't just shift the goalposts, especially if you're still going to miss. Because focusing the location of the Book of Mormon in Mesoamerica does nothing to deal with the issues caused by, for example, DNA studies. But we'll get into all that in another video. For now, what is important is that we have an apostle of the Lord echoing another apostle from 50 years ago, showing that their view of where the Book of Mormon took place has not changed at all. And that is in spite of numerous archaeological, anthropological and biological evidences that firmly challenge both the Middle Eastern origin of the Native Americans, as well as the geography of Book of Mormon events as attested to by the book itself. And it would seem that every time America has a significant birthday, church leaders forget the challenge that these views present to their truth claims in favour of the patriotic feelings that these teachings can engender. And look, I get it. The United States is a beautiful country full of beautiful people. And yet, it is problematic as a location for the events of the Book of Mormon. And now we're caught in a tension between how apologists try and fix those problems and how church leaders refuse to change their view on those problematic narratives. It's a massive B. Anyway, if you go to patreon.com/Nemo the Mormon, you will find a bonus video where I talk more about my relationship to the United States and my relationship to Utah in general. You'll also be the first to hear about the next time that I visit and any meetups that might happen. And you'll be supporting the channel, which is really important because this channel does not exist without the support of viewers like you. So thank you very much for watching. And if you want to keep watching what I do, this next video here is probably right up your street. Oh, and like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And enjoy this video of a squirrel.